Hello, painting class. So I want to talk to you about your next assignment. So these are slides that I would have shown you if class had gone on like normal instead of moving online. So I'm trying out this whole recording thing, so bear with me. So this first slide, your assignment is going to be inspired by geometry. So this is Robert Delaunay, early 20th century French painter. I just thought this was a really beautiful slide to start the talk off with. So here's your assignment sheet. I will email you a copy of this, and basically just to give you a quick rundown. The size, it would have been a 24 by 30 inch painting, or something in that range if we were doing this normally. But now that we've moved online, as you know, I've made a lot of things up to you because you have different access to stores and financial situation, all kinds of things are different now. So I'm leaving things up to you. Materials, that's also up to you. And again, see those previous documents. Think about, if you're going to use acrylic or oil or whatever. You can even use Photoshop, actually. You can use Photoshop as a painting program, or just send me ideas if you're not sure if it's going to work or not. It's probably best if you can work in oil or acrylic, just because that'll be more like the class you signed up for. The due dates for this, you're going to upload to Padlet, which is an really easy to program to upload your work for. Hopefully you've already had a chance to try that out. But I sent you instructions for that too, so look out for that email. The due dates are here. Like we did on the previous projects, you did a lot of sketches and color studies and things like that. So the due dates are just for when you upload that to Padlet. I just said at midnight. Probably you're not going to be doing it at midnight, but just so that you had up till the last possible minute. I'll be looking, when you turn something in Sunday at midnight, that means I'm going to be looking at it sometime Monday morning and try to give you some feedback on that sometime Monday, and so forth. So, and the final painting is due on April 19th. And then we'll move on to the next project. So you're going to use geometry as your starting point. So one of the things that I've tried to do in this class is give you a sense of how artists get ideas, right? And so we were inspired by nature for a project. For this one, we're going to be inspired by geometry. And so you can, pretty loosely interpret that so that you can be really creative with it. So I've got a few ideas to present to you in the slides and a few artists to look at. Yeah, and there's some specifics down there at the bottom. Make at least 4 small sketches. Make them at least 4 inches. You can make them any size you want as long as they're bigger than 4 inches, around that size. And your color study should be about 6 by 8 inches. You can go larger with that if you like. And if you're not happy with it, make another one or just work right on top of it until you... Basically, as you know, the point of making the sketches and the color study is so that when you start painting, you have confidence in what you're doing. And it's kind of a way of stepping through this. So the first idea I want to pitch at you is using some simple geometry tools to come up with ideas. And so geometry has actually been used by artists and architects for a very long time. There's a man named J. Hammett who wrote a book called The Greek Vase, or Dynamic Symmetry and Elements of Dynamic Symmetry. And it's all about how artists use things like the golden section rectangle and dynamic symmetry to design things. So you can, so I'll get into that in a bit. So dynamic symmetry is really simple to do, and you can use it to design some really cool stuff in terms of abstract painting. You just take a square, rectangle, and just divide it in half and in half again. Split it with the diagonals, and then you can use those new points that you've created to connect the dots and make some more points. And then just keep connecting those and connecting them until you get quite a few of these lines. You can sort of see how everything, let's see if my mouse works here, connecting all of these different segments together. And that kind of generates points that you can generate straight lines across and use that to generate shapes and keep going until you have a pretty complex setup. So, traditional artists like Raphael would use it when they had a lot of things to organize in a painting. So in this painting, I don't know, there's probably 30 different figures in the painting. And you can probably, if you look carefully before I show you the next slide, you can probably see how that dynamic symmetry is at work here, how there's various fingers pointing and heads lined up in straight lines and a lot of diagonals presented through the figures. And this next slide just kind of shows how much Raphael actually used dynamic symmetry to design this painting and to organize it. You can also use a compass and a straight edge. Compass and straight edge constructions are pretty unique. You can Google it if you want to. Here's just a quick Google search. And so you can look it up or ask me questions if you want to know more about this. But straight edge and compass constructions are a really interesting way of making some really unique geometric shapes. So things like the golden section rectangle. And to create that, all you do is start with a square, and then you take and divide that in half and put your compass point down at the bottom, and then the pencil point of your compass goes up here. I'm sorry, it goes up in the corner, just like in this next slide. And then you sort of swing your compass all the way around until you get a new rectangle. And then that rectangle, you can divide that up by dividing it up into squares. And as that moves its way around, that's how you can generate something like the form of a really unique spiral. And this is Albrecht Dürer, and also Leonardo da Vinci did this too. But they discovered the golden section proportions in lots of things in nature. So if you divide a human up from the top of their head to their belly button, and from their belly button to their feet, that proportional ratio is 1 to 1.618, which is the mathematical ratio of the golden section. I'll try not to bore you too much with this stuff. You can look up more if you want, or you can talk to me individually about this. I'm trying to make this video not too long because I don't even know how long YouTube lets me upload videos for. Something I'm learning. But this is a really unique way of taking that golden section spiral and then combining it with another one. That could be a really beautiful start to a painting. And here's some more, just the basic constructions for how to make things like a pentagon using only a compass and straight edge. The reason I say straight edge is because I did a series of these exercises once, and the idea is you don't actually use the measurements on the ruler to design these shapes. Instead, you're using all these ways of swinging the compass from one point to another to generate these division points. And it's pretty fun to do, really kind of neat stuff. This is Tessa Berry. She's a former Monmouth College student. She did this painting about 3 years ago. And she did a really beautiful job with this painting. So this is her piece, inspired by geometry. And Natalie Curtis, this is her work. Really fantastic painting. And there's Natalie in the classroom at work. I bet you guys missed the classroom a little bit right now. I know I sure do. Tired of being at home, I can tell you. This slide here, that's just another close-up of Natalie's work. And usually when I do this project, then when I give this assignment in class, I'll show this video. It's about 15 minutes long, but you can actually find it online. I don't think that this YouTube video, that link will be active, obviously, so I'll put the link down below in the description of the video, so you can click on it. Or just look up Robert Mangold, Art21. It's really good. I highly recommend you watch it. The entirety of that video is about 45 minutes and has three other artists in it. Obviously, you probably got a lot of time on your hands, so you can watch the whole video if you want. But the segment I really want you to watch is the one on Robert Mangold. Actually, I was going to have you guys, if we were meeting in class like normal, if the plague hadn't kicked in and kicked us all out, I was going to have you guys do shaped panels using a jigsaw and plywood. We were actually going to work in class to make our own things, and Robert Mangold uses shaped canvases, as you can see there. So if the Lowe's in your area or Home Depot or wherever happens to be open and you feel comfortable going out, you can still do this if you wanted to. I mean, they make these little pre-cut circles that can be nice to paint on. As you can see there, that one's $8. And you can gesso over that and paint. Or if you're using acrylic, you can just paint directly on it. So if you've got wood shop tools and someone around to help you with it, and there's another slide. You can use a 1x2 pine and 1/4 inch plywood, and you can use that to make a panel, square panel, rectangles, different shapes, things like that. I'm really disappointed I can't teach you guys this stuff. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to show you how to build things out of wood and to make your own stuff, so you can be self-reliant as a painter and not always have to buy things from the store to paint on. And speaking of painting on wood, this is an artist named Jason Middlebrook. I took these slides when I was at SOFO, which is a big art show in Chicago, a few years ago, and he actually paints on wooden planks and pieces of wood. This looks like the burl from a tree, and just paints directly on them. And here's some of the just slabs of wood. So he's taking the slabs of wood raw and just painting directly on them, and they're really beautiful. You can pause this and read it if you want to. I'm just going to keep going. I don't feel like reading that out loud to you. That's another artist you could be inspired by. It's an artist named Peter Pincus. He's one of my favorite ceramic artists, and he just has a really beautiful sense of geometry and order in his pottery. So this is a set of his pots. I love how he sort of has this black and white gray underpinning to the work with these bright, vibrant splashes of color. I don't guess you call them splashes because they're very geometric, but I think you know what I mean. Here's another one of his pieces. His technique is really unique, so if you're a ceramic artist and want to look him up, you can see some really good stuff about his technique. It involves slip casting and painting slips into the molds as he's doing the casting process. It's pretty neat stuff. You can also be inspired by architecture. This is one of my favorite online magazines to look at is D-Zine. Primarily focuses on architecture. This is another page from them. And another artist I would show you if we were in class, and you can actually just go to YouTube and watch this, is an artist named Alex Kallenberg. And the process is really cool the way he paints. So if you're using acrylic or even oil, this involves a lot of taping and masking. And he's working in acrylic, so there's a lot of interesting acrylic mediums that he's using, and spray paints and so forth. So I think that's it. So again, I'm sorry class has been shifted to online. It's really, really unfortunate. I'm not enjoying it either. But hopefully you can use this painting class as a way to just have a good time and make some paintings, a way to kind of unwind from, the sheer boredom of being stuck inside. So good luck on your project. I'll be sending you some more information by email.